Hello everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Spiced In Podcast. I'm your host Jacob, and today we're going to break down the debut of Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 1, The Bad Batch. This is a long-awaited return to the Clone Wars series as it debuts on Disney+, and as far as we're aware, this is the final season of the series. But before we get into that, we're going to talk a few general news items. As you should all know by now, Project Luminous is debuting with all of the information tomorrow. Well, I guess today. Tomorrow for me, but today, February 24th. And I had mentioned in the past maybe being able to do a special breakdown on Tuesday, having something go up then. But I don't think that's probably going to happen. I am traveling for work, and I thought I might record something in my hotel room real quick that night, but I'm going to have to share a hotel room with a coworker for this trip, and I don't want to subject them to me rambling about Star Wars for 15 minutes. So it will most likely not happen. You can check my Twitter @SpicedInPod for some live reactions, or not live reactions, some more timely reactions, and then we'll talk about it on the following week's episode, that Monday. But some other small news items, the Rise of Skywalker Blu-ray and DVD set will release on March 31st, with it coming to digital March 17th. In addition to the regular release of the movie, there's also going to be, right now, Best Buy has a 4K Skywalker Saga box set for $250, 4K Blu-ray, so there's really not much information on it. The product page is up, but it's pretty empty, so I'm going to wait to see if anything else comes out, if any other vendors or retailers are going to have other special box sets, because I definitely think I want one, but at the same time, I don't have a 4K television yet, so I don't know if I can justify it right now, but it does look pretty great, and it'd be a good thing for the future. And then lastly, again on Rise of Skywalker news, the extended novelization will be releasing on March 17th as well. I will probably be picking that up and finishing that. That's probably going to be my next book after Thrawn Treason. So I have not started Thrawn Treason, but hopefully over the next week or two, I'll be able to finish that. And, since we have Clone Wars week to week, it's not like I'm going to be short on content. So hopefully, I don't know if I'm going to wait till the end of the season yet or not to talk about that. I'm not sure. I want to do a full episode breakdown and a book in the same episode. So we'll see. At the worst, it's going to be a month and a half before I talk about that. But if anyone wants to follow along and, have a more informed discussion with me, that gives you plenty of time to read the book. Unless, of course, you have not read the first two books, in which case I probably wouldn't skip to this one. I've gotten a little farther in Rebels Season 2, but it's nothing too significant. I think I've probably watched 2 or 3 more episodes. But again, with the Clone Wars going on, it's not like I'm going to be talking about that anytime soon. But I think that's everything out of the way as far as housekeeping. And with that, let's jump into the episode. So yeah, this is episode 1 of season 7, the first Disney Plus and probably last Disney Plus season of the Clone Wars. I'll start off with a little bit of non-spoiler talk before we head into the full episode breakdown. But I liked it. I thought it was a pretty good episode. It definitely was pretty tropey, but honestly, it was just nice to have a good return to Clone Wars. I know there are a lot of people that are just huge diehard fans of the series, and I do really appreciate and enjoy a lot of it, but I also am, I'm open to admit that there's a lot of just bad, filler, childish, it's a child's TV show, so it is what it is, but there's a lot of episodes that, as an adult, they're pretty brutal to watch, and I would not watch again. But I think this episode, as a whole, was good. So I'm glad to have a solid return to the series. Again, it's pretty tropey with the setup. You're introduced to this other squad, and everyone plays a role, and feels very Noble Team from Halo, or A-Team, or something it's this guy that is this archetype, and this guy that's this archetype. So it's pretty, it's nothing new. It's nothing original story-wise, but I still enjoyed it and had a good time, and it was a good return to the Clone Wars series. And one last thing before I hop into spoiler talk. For those who are in the know, so the Clone Wars back in the day was canceled, but there were still episodes that were planned ahead, and some of them were put into a storyboard phase. There was some preliminary animation and voice acting done, and you can find them. It's the Clone Wars story reels. I think they're on YouTube. So those were the episodes that were planned before the series got canned, and The Bad Batch was one of those arcs. So the story group, the Lucasfilm story group, considers those all to be canon until they're overwritten by something else. So those people more familiar with the story boards or the story reels, they know how this is probably going to go. From what I heard, there were some small deviations, but that's out there. If you want to find it, go ahead. But I have not actually ever looked really in depth. So if you want to find them, that's great. But I'm not going to talk about these episodes through that lens. It's going to be just me having watched the episodes and what there is in them. But anyways, we're going to hop into our breakdown. So spoilers ahead. If you have not watched it, it's on Disney Plus. Go take a look. It's a good time. So the episode follows the Battle of Anaxis. It's the Separatists going and raiding the Republic's largest shipyard, or one of the largest shipyards. Anaxis, it hasn't been mentioned too much. This is the first time it's shown up in the Clone Wars. However, it does have some appearances in the Rebel series. The battle, or at least the part of the battle we're following, is Admiral Trench, the Spider Dude, versus Mace and Anakin as generals for the Jedi and Clone Forces. The Republic has begun to lose ground in this battle over the weeks, and it's looking like they're probably going to lose the shipyard, and it's going to do a big blow to their fleet. According to Mace, the droids have overrun the production facility, and the Republic won't be able to hold for long. Our friends Cody and Rex show up, and they're going to talk to the two generals. Rex is telling them that he believes the droids' analytics are beating them out. It's nothing new, but every time they battle the Separatists, they have droids with analytics. They look at that strategy and they're more prepared, and every time they repeat that strategy, its effectiveness goes down. So they try and vary their attacks to keep them on their feet. However, they're doing a much better job. It's a statistical anomaly how well they're responding to all the different strategies. Rex believes it's so calculated, their responses, that they must know his playbook somehow. And they're afraid because Rex is one of the best tacticians, and if they can beat him, they're going to be able to beat everyone. So Commander Cody wants to take a small squad behind enemy lines to infiltrate a Separatist cyber center, which he believes is housing the tactical response to all of the fights over the planet. Before they leave, it's approved, of course, but before they leave, Anakin asks if there's anything else they should know, but Rex says no. We cut back to the barracks, and Rex is looking at an old photo of him and Commander Cody and some of the old 501st, and he's mourning the loss of his friends Heavy, Echo, and Fives. This is a pretty recurring theme, the theme of loss and the costs of war, and it was played out quite a bit in Season 6, especially with Fives. Commander Cody comes in to fetch Rex, and Rex tells him that he thinks something's up. He thinks that Echo is still alive somehow, and that's how the Separatists know his playbook. For those who don't remember, Echo dies in Season 3, Episode 19, the episode Counterattack. This is where Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka are on the Citadel. It's a world that's supposed to be a prison for Jedi, and it's been overrun by the Separatists. Echo's on the mission with them, and they're trying to extract and get out of there. And Tarkin's there as well. But they get pinned down out next to a landing platform. Echo rushes ahead and is backing up into a command shuttle to try and capture it for everyone. And as he's going up the ramp, it's shot by like an artillery cannon, and it blows up, and everyone else retreats. So you're left to assume that he's dead there. The only thing you see is his smoldering helmet as they all run away. But that was it. That was the end of Echo as far as we're concerned. But he thinks that Echo's out there somehow, and Echo did a lot of the strategy with Rex, and that's how they're able to respond so well. Of course, Commander Cody tries to dissuade this belief. He tells them that it's crazy, but they just need to take care of the job. Rex is asking what squad they're going to be taking with them, and Commander Cody tells him Clone Force 99. 99 is, of course, a reference to Clone 99, he was kind of a failed defective clone, and he served as a janitor on Kamino in Season 3, Episode 1 and 2, and he died heroically, albeit kind of pointlessly, unfortunately, fending off the invasion on Kamino by the Separatists. We have a set of familiar faces on the mission. That's Commander Cody, Rex, Kix, and Jesse. Jesse's been moved up to an ARC Trooper, and Kix, of course, is our medic. We're told that Squad 99 is effective, but they're quite non-traditional in their methodology. And as we're saying this, the squad flies in on their shuttle, coming in really hot on the airfield, sending everyone scattering, and lands on the ground. You see, it's explained that Experimental Clone Force 99 is a set of defective clones with desirable mutations, also known as the Bad Batch. So we're introduced to a set of 4 clone troopers. These are a very tropey group of men. They're all in some pretty sick red and black armor that I can't wait to see some high-level cosplay of. But we have a group of 4, and the last one, the big dude, the muscle at the back, he has 99 painted in Arabesh on his helmet, and everyone else has 99 on their shoulders. If you look in the back of the shuttle, there's a little poster with a clone trooper helmet on it. In Arabesh, it reads History Monthly Geonosis. It looks kind of like a magazine cover, some sort of publication. I looked it up. There's nothing really listed on it in Wikipedia. And don't expect me to translate every Arabesh script in the shows going forward, because I don't know it. Like, I'm not one of those people that can just read it. But, I thought it might be something useful, and so I took a few minutes to translate it. But yeah, we're greeted by this group. The leader is Sergeant Hunter, who is very much looks like Rambo with, they all don't look like Django because they're different, they're defective. But so yeah, he looks like Rambo, has the red bandana. Then they were told that they just came back from a mission on Yalbek Prime, which is the first mention of this world in Star Wars. Yalbeks are some sort of insectoid species, and Wrecker, our muscle, cut off the Queen's stinger while she was still alive to make knives, because that's the only way they can kill a male Yalbek. Our other members of the group are Tech, who's of course the nerdy data guy. I really wish they would come up with something a little more creative, rather than it's like, oh, what are we going to call the Tech guy? Oh, we'll call him Tech. And then the last one is Crosshair, who is our elite marksman of the group. They go out to head towards the mission and they take a clone gunship. On the way, Jesse and Crosshair get into it a little bit, and Crosshair barks at him that they don't normally work with regs, which of course refers to regular clones, non-modified clones. Commander Cody briefs them on the mission. They're going to go to the Cyber Center, but not for destruction, but for retrieval. They're trying to get intel. But as they're flying out, they get spotted by some droid sentries, and they get shot down by some spider droids. They land in this kind of valley area, and everyone hops out, except Kix finds that Commander Cody is trapped underneath the gunship. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do when everyone's kind of panicking, and Wrecker just goes to help and fix the situation. But not by going in and pulling Commander Cody out, by tossing the gunship off of him. It explodes, and that gives away their location to a set of droids, but, they also got shot down, so that didn't really help them either. Kix goes in and examines Commander Cody and tells him that he has internal damage, and he's not going to be able to probably continue on their mission. In response to the approaching droid battalion, Rex says they should hold position and fight them defensively, but that's not going to work for the Bad Batch. So this is our introduction to them tactically and how they operate. Hunter leads them in enacting Plan 82 Shockwave. Wrecker picks up one of the doors of the gunship and uses it as a shield as they all charge in behind it. They're picking them off with their blasters, and in addition, Tech will give Crosshair a coordinate. He'll throw an ion grenade and then shoot it out of the sky to disable droids en masse. Eventually, spider droids come to the party, and they split up in order to take them down. They charge and blast one of them, and the second, of course, Wrecker comes up and uses the door to disable it. After that, they have to all move out on foot to get out and head onwards to their mission. Night comes, and a tactical droid comes down to examine the battlefield. It is obviously quite peculiar and much different from what they've been seeing in the past with the typical clone forces. He radios into Trench and tells him just that the tactics were unusual, and Trench asks if a Jedi was involved because, that might be something you see from Anakin, but that was not the case, it was only clones, so Trench has them tracked down. Since they're on foot, it shouldn't take too much. The clones gather up around a campfire and have a little campsite, and this is where it dawned on me what the connection with Anaxis is to Rebels. When I originally started, I saw that on the Wikipedia article, the planet eventually gets destroyed somehow in the early days of the Empire and becomes an asteroid field. I'm like, okay, it's probably something that's like offhand mentioned in an episode, but no, it's something more than that. When tipped it away from me is I saw a creature in the background during the campfire. I'm like, that looks kind of familiar. And it turns out it's one of the Fernox from Season 1 in the Out of Darkness and Gathering Forces episodes. It's the ones where Sabine and Hera go down to get supplies off of this old abandoned base, and they get attacked by these creatures that hate darkness, or hate the light. So yeah, it's that same planet. That planet becomes that weird, kind of creepy asteroid belt with the Rebel base and the supplies on it. So somehow, yeah, it got blasted. It got not just like, it got straight blown into pieces, and life survived, and it had also a usable atmosphere, I guess, around the larger asteroid. So that's kind of crazy. But yeah, I think the hangar where all those creatures were is probably the one that we started this episode in with Mace and Anakin. But yeah, that was a kind of crazy connection. But back to the episode at hand, Jesse and Kix are kind of talking out in the corner, asking what makes Hunter so special, since we already know what makes the other three unique. One of them responds jokingly he can put up with the other three. But Tech tells us that he was engineered with heightened senses. He can feel the electromagnetic frequency of a place like the Cyber Center. You know, that might not sound useful, but they say maps can be wrong, but Hunter never is. And we don't really get shown this at all yet, but, you know, if it's Chekhov's gun, that's going to have to come into play later in this arc, his usefulness. But it's time to move on. Rex says they're going to have Commander Cody evac, and Kix will stay behind with him to make sure he's okay. They argue over command and what's going to be the next course of action, but Hunter comes in as the voice of reason, knocks sense into everyone, and says Rex is going to be in charge, and they're going to do it for Commander Cody. Marching out, and daylight has come, and they go along and find an outpost on their way to the Cyber Center. Hunter asks Rex for orders, saying that, asking if they're just going to go off on the tree line and pick them off one by one. But Rex says they kind of should go at their style and go in guns a-blazing. They basically rush in, destroy all the droids outside the outpost, and they ascend the elevator to this kind of Space Needle looking structure with a real thin center with a wide top. It's a great shot as they ascend the elevator and come into this command center that looks kind of reminiscent of a Separatist capital ship bridge, but they dispatch all the droids. They can see the Cyber Center from there, and Tech says, based on the computers in there, that there's only about 30 guards at the Cyber Center. However, there are more reinforcements on the way. They need to go out ASAP, and the Bad Batch is going to take some speeder bikes to flank from the rear as the 501st go in from the front. They're all in place when Tech says the forces have reached the previous outpost, and the tactical droid calls Admiral Trench, saying that they've moved on from the outpost they took out. Trench says they must know about the algorithm, and he calls forward to the Cyber Center. This is when the clones move in, and they start taking out all the droids around. The Bad Batch are on the back and start to breach in. Tech does his work to try and hack into the door when Wrecker just gets bored and busts the door open. Once they get inside, Tech goes to work on the main computer while Hunter and Wrecker go to help the 501st get in the front door. When they finally meet up, Rex goes inside as a droid transport ship rolls up and deploys a bunch of B-2s. When he gets inside, he tells Tech to search for a program to match his tactical algorithm, and Tech finds it, but it's not a program as he would expect. It's a live signal coming from Skako Minor. It's a world featured in Dr. Aphra issues, and it's also the homeworld of Wat Tambor, the Techno-Union leader. So obviously we're going to have to go to Skako Minor, which is really cool. If we get to see the Techno-Union in similar light than we did with the Banking Clan in Season 6, I think that's going to be awesome. It's like some stupid kind of, behind the scenes stuff, but I like if you're going to give all the politics of the prequels, I think it's good to at least give that background in that context by seeing the Banking Clan, by seeing the Techno-Union. So hopefully we get more of that. But anyways, meanwhile, Crosshair goes to find a speeder to help extract the clones as it's getting a little hot outside. Tech is working with the audio feed that's coming in because it's a live signal, and he is able to patch Rex into it. And he says the sounds almost human, which is like this garbled mess for us. We have no idea what's going on, but apparently it sounds human. The rest of the group start to go inside and find them and get them out of there, and Rex has Tech ask who's sending the signal. And this is when it finally clicks in. It starts repeating CT-1409, which is Echo's call sign. They all retreat when the droids are starting to overwhelm them, and they fly back towards base. A tactical droid comes in and tells Trench that the clones have retreated, and no data has been downloaded, so they don't think they got any intel, but the tactical droid tells them that they made contact with Skako Minor. On the way back to the base, Tech asks Rex about the number that they heard, and he tells him that it's Echo and he's alive. So I think a pretty cool episode overall. Again, tropey, nothing super new, but I enjoyed it, and it was had some great action set pieces, in addition to some really cool characters. So I'll always take that, and I'm definitely excited for the next part of the arc next week. I'm going to do a little speculation, so if you don't want to hear that, just do the 30-second skip button. But I think next week we're going to see if, whenever we get to Rex or get to Echo on Skaka Minor, he's not going to be whole. He's either going to be dead and an AI based on his brain, or he's going to be like paraplegic and like plugged into a tactical center, and Rex is going to have to kill him, kind of in coordination with this theme of loss that we've been having. That's my thoughts. We'll see what actually happens. But yeah, again, I'm very excited to hear the next part of this, and I can't wait for next Friday. But I think that's all for now. But one last thing before I close. So, my girlfriend, God bless her, is very supportive of me and what I do, but I don't think she listens anymore, which is fine. That's up to her. That's her prerogative. And, it's not like she's the world's largest Star Wars fan, so I'm not going to force her to listen to me blather for half an hour when she does that all the time anyways. However, my opportunity, I'm going to say, if she doesn't call me out on this within the next 3 episodes, I'm going to take that as my free reign to book a ticket to the Galactic Star Cruiser. So we're number 3 when we get to 0. That's my green light. So we'll see what happens with that. I'll let you know if I get called out. But anyways, enough of that. Thank you for listening, everyone. If you want to see more, interact with me at all, go follow me on Twitter or Instagram at SpicedandPod. Feel free to subscribe to the podcast if you like what you heard. Thanks to Graham Bull for providing our music, and may the Force be with you.